What's going on, y'all? This is Mike Brown, and I just want to welcome y'all to this week's episode of The Art of Letting Go. While I have your attention, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen, and also leave a review, rate it, let people know what you think. Let me know what you think. I love to read the feedback that you all give. If you'd also like to further support the show, we do have a Patreon where we give some exclusive content as well as some merch. And this is The Art of Letting Go. Welcome to the show. Yo, what up? This is Mike Brown, and this is The Art of Letting Go. Today, I have a special guest in the building. We met through Spotify, and what's crazy is we didn't meet during the actual residency, but we met at the screening, and I was like, when I watched the video before, I was like, damn, they are cool as hell. But do you mind introducing yourself to the people?
Of course. My name is Thom Kitt. I am non-binary. I'm a dancer, a choreographer. And yeah, we didn't get a chance to meet at the Spotify event, but I did see you in and out, and I was just like, oh, I wonder who that is. They look nice. They look cool. So yeah, I'm glad we did get a chance to chop it up. And now we're here.
Yes, we are. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm glad we're enjoying nature. I haven't been outside.
Really?
Like Beyonce said, in a while. It's, as far as just sitting and taking in everything.
Yeah.
So this feels nice. This feels wonderful.
That's what's up. I'm curious to know, what do you do to just relax and unwind? Because this is kind of like my space to
that's dope.
Just disconnect from everything. But what do you do to disconnect?
Relax and unwind. I don't think I know those words.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
This is terrible to say, but I feel like unwinding, or my version of unwinding, is still working, which is not really healthy. But
I can definitely relate to that, and I think that is the creative in us.
Yes.
Because it's
does not rest.
Yeah. Because it's yes, I create for work, but I also create for fun. I create.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I fully understand that.
Yeah. It gets to a point where work and just recreation are blurred.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to step away from that. So this is a reminder for me to actually relax and find time to unwind.
That's what's up.
But maybe watching movies. I think that is my relaxation, I guess.
Okay.
I'm a huge cinema buff.
Yeah.
Love movies. That's
what's up.
Yep.
I wanted to ask you, how long have you been dancing?
Ooh. Professionally, maybe, let's see, 2013, so 9-ish years.
Wow.
But really all my life.
Yeah.
It's kind of like second nature, first nature. I've just always been a mover.
Yeah.
Always had a strong connection to music and rhythm. So yeah, now I'm just getting paid for it.
That's what's up. And what got you into it? What inspired you to really pursue it as a career?
I really have no clue when it clicked for me. This is what I want to do. But I was recently going through an old family photo album and saw an old picture of me, and I had no memory of this until I looked at the picture and was like, oh wait, that's me. My mom took me to a house class when I was
wow.
4 or 5, and it was with this company, Rennie Harris, who's a pioneer. And then I went on to school to actually learn house dance from his former students. And it wasn't until I looked at that picture and was just this might have been the moment that set me down this path.
Yeah.
And I have no memory of it, but maybe physically there's something that's still there in the bones. So I've just always been drawn to dance.
Wow. And what is house dance? Because you're from DC, right?
I am. Yes, I am.
I honestly am not too familiar with house dance because I'm from Houston, and I don't remember my parents even really listening to much like house music.
Oh yeah, my mama house up and down. When she cleaning the house, when we going on road trips, nothing but house music. And it's house dance is something born out of creating house music in Chicago, and it's a mixture of like African and like tap and salsa, but it's just like it's a black staple.
And I appreciate you saying that because it's funny, especially with like some of the music that's been coming out right now, like Beyonce and Drake. I see people like claiming, and happy Pride, by the way. Can we say happy Pride? Because it is June.
Right.
Happy Pride before we go too much further into the episode. But, I see a lot of people claiming like the music as like gay music or queer music. And granted, I think it did start by queer people, but I see it more as like just black in general. Like,
well, great thing is both.
Yeah, exactly.
The creator of house music, DJ Frankie Knuckles, he was a black queer man.
Yeah.
And his influence in that art form just like skyrocketed. And then like people overseas and European folks, of course, took it and turned it into something else. And that's why you have like EDM and like a bunch of other forms now. But it very much is a black queer music.
Yeah.
Form of music. And I just love it. Like it definitely fuels my soul.
Yeah.
You should hop into some house classes. I'm telling you. Vogue is one thing. I do love me some Vogue. It's like, and then Vogue also was done to house music.
Yeah.
And the combination of those two, they light a fire up my ass. I'm telling you.
Yeah. That ball. So we both walked in a ball a couple of weeks ago. Did. Was that your first ball?
That was my first. The cherry was popped.
How was that?
No more. It was incredible.
Yeah.
An incredible feeling. I think I underestimated the thrill that I would get from it.
Yeah.
Because I want to do it again. But I think I've prepared for this. Like, it's something that was extremely scary, of course, but like all my life I've been a spectator, and I've been a practicer in like studio form, but there was no stepping out to get my tens and just bare myself like that, and it just felt wonderful. Yeah,
that's what's up. I'm curious to know, how do you step out of fear when you dance? And I asked that because as you were talking about when you were younger, it made me think about when I was younger. And when I was a kid, I didn't care about dancing in front of people, singing in front of people, none of that stuff. And as I got older, I kind of almost feel like I go into my shell and like just am terrified to perform in front of people. But I'm curious to know, like, what do you mentally do to step out of that?
I don't think the fear ever truly leaves. I think I found ways to deal with it by just remembering that everyone is different.
Yeah.
And so my perspective on this thing is going to be different, and not everybody's going to get it. And I shouldn't really care. Yeah. It's kind of what I kind of go to. Like, I'm doing this for me. What does this feel like for me? And that kind of alleviates some of the fear. But that element is still there, I guess, because, we're human. We, do care what people think. But I think when I put my own thoughts first, and it's just like, how do you feel in this moment? that kind of overshadows everything else.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
And sometimes for me, I kind of dive deeper into the fear. So it's like, all right, I'm already feeling scared. So it's like,
oh yeah, the mind start racing. The imagination, the imposter syndrome comes in. Yeah, that can be dangerous.
Yeah. So it's like, fuck it, let's jump out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I like that.
And I think, you know, in dancing, that's a way to like really express it. Like I told you with the Vogue classes, like I was terrified to do it, and I felt myself like just yell before actually doing it, and it was like, oh, I needed that. I needed that just to get me out of my head, out of my body, and just dancing is special. That's
amazing. Did you dance before taking classes?
At home. I used to moonwalk as a kid.
Absolutely. That's a form of training. People sleep on that home training, but watching the music video, that's literally what, I mean, one of the things that inspired me. Lord, if this, okay, I thought a dog was coming towards me, child. Sorry, y'all, we outside, and I thought a dog was coming. But watching music videos and watching dancers on TV, award shows, and practicing it in your home is a form of training.
Yeah. Who are your favorite dancers?
Oh, the list is long. But I think right now my favorite dancers are my peers.
Okay.
Which is like, I mean, my closest friends that I can think of, Deja, who I'm not sure you met, but she was also at the Spotify event. Tyreek Patterson is like an incredible mover, choreographer, brilliant eye, mind. I'm attracted to people who are versatile and vulnerable in their craft. And I see that from them. And Taya, who you met also as well. Amazing. I mean, it sounds like I'm just trying to put my friends on, but
not at all.
Literally, those are like my favorite people to watch and dance with. And of course, you have like the big names, like Sean Bankhead, who was like, I don't even want to talk about it. Dope as hell. He has like a specific. He has a very distinct groove and a pocket, and it just something that touches you, like when you watch his movement, and watch him do his movement. It's sickening. The bag is crazy. So yeah, I just love dancers who are confident, and like ooze, just expert. Like that's what I love. Oh, and if we're going in a ballroom, Monte, I don't know if you saw him walk when we went to the last ball.
I don't think so.
Were you there when it got shut down?
I was.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
They like shut it down and then revived it, and then they let some folks walk for Vogue performance, and he had on like the long do-rag.
Okay.
Maybe you didn't see him. I'm gonna send you his work.
Please do.
Beyond Vogue, his mind, his body, his facility, insane.
Yeah.
It's just insane. Yeah, those are my favorites. My peers are my favorites.
That's dope. That's really dope. And I had another question for you about dancing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you dance, like, because it almost, I watched some of your videos, and it almost looked like you are communicating with your movements. Like, can you, I guess, express like what am I trying to ask exactly? I guess like what is your expression when you are dancing?
Some things that I can't verbally say or don't have the words for. I use movement in that way.
Yeah.
To speak to myself, speak to people who are watching, speak to people who may not have the access or the space to move freely or speak freely. So a lot of my movement comes from that. It's an expression of freedom to kind of like piggyback off of the whole Spotify experience that we had.
Yeah.
I love breaking barriers, not only for myself, but for everyone who is like me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah. What was it like for you getting that call from Spotify?
Oh my God! I thought it was a scam at first. I was like, wait a minute,
I
let
did
me.
too.
I looked at the email. I said, I'm gonna have to read this a couple more times before I respond, because. And I went and did a little deep dive and found out Miss Francine was real.
Yes.
Shout out to Franny.
Yes.
But I kind of was taken aback and was just like, oh wow, they actually want to invest in someone like me. That never really happened. And then I just accepted it and just dove in full force, and that was amazing. That was an amazing experience.
Yeah, it really was. And I felt the same way. I just was like, man, because, you work so hard at what you're doing. And, to get that call, especially from somebody like Spotify, it's like, wow.
Right.
And
my friend Lucy kind of like had to check me, because I was like, and I love her. She's one of the folks in my life who helped me take mental health seriously.
Yeah.
We need friends like that.
Yes.
But yeah, it was sort of like I said, that imposter syndrome took over, and she was kind of like, what do you mean? What is this real? Like, you deserve this. Hello, you're amazing. What aren't you realizing? I'm like, you know what? I do deserve this. And more people like us deserve this. So yeah.
What keeps you going on this journey?
The kids. It's literally the kids. I not to get dark, but like, I've had struggles with going on or moving forward, and you can take that in multiple ways, but I think what's really kept me here is knowing that my purpose and my existence is beneficial for the children in my life, specifically my niece and nephew. And everything that I do is just to make sure that they look at me and see someone that they'd want to protect, want to fight for. And yeah, that's kind of the core to my fire.
That's what's up. And what is one piece of advice that you would give to somebody that's on their journey of just a career, or not even necessarily a career, but just somebody that's on that journey of, whether they want to be a dancer, choreographer, or whatever it may be, just what advice would you give them?
Take your time, I think, is a huge lesson I had to learn. You are in no rush. Your journey is your own, literally. Like, your lane is your own, your journey is your own. The timing is your own. I think a lot of times we get stuck when we compare ourselves to our peers or mentors or like our faves, and it's just like, oh, but they made it here at this age, at this time. I should be here. My ability should be here. No, your timing is your own. We're all different people and have vastly different experiences, and pay attention to yourself and allow yourself to really, really take time to develop whatever craft or whatever venture you're pursuing. I rushed and tried to do a lot of things, and it set me back, because then I had to go back and relearn or unlearn things. So yeah, that would be my biggest word. Take your time.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. And now I want to transition to
Let's do it.
talking about being black and queer.
Hallelujah.
Because, man, I know for myself it's been a journey, and I really love to have this conversation with people because, you know, we are not a monolith. We all have so many different experiences, you know, and I would like to know what it was like for you growing up in D.C.
Oof. And you know, I love DC. I got it tatted on the back of my neck.
Okay.
That is my soul, my home, my culture. But it just was not easy. And that could have been just anywhere, but growing up in a black community, in a conservative, like, Christian family, I grew up Jehovah's Witness, actually.
Oh, wow.
Which, you know, people that I love still commit to. So I'm careful when I'm critical about it, but I have to be honest.
Yeah.
Seems like it was very cult-like. So growing up in that kind of almost feels like I didn't really grow up at all. It was almost just like a holding cell.
Damn.
Until I left,
and
found my tribe. Growing up in DC, especially Chocolate City, I mean, not anymore so much, but back in the day, you know, just black love, black energy everywhere. That's one thing that I'm super grateful for.
Yeah.
But it was very queer phobic. You know, it was like, we're black, we're already targets. Why would you want to be queer? Why would you want to, you know, be other? And I'm like, it's not that I want to or don't want to. It's I am. It's not anything that you can change.
Yeah.
So growing up with that, like, perspective of I'll never be worthy, or I'll never be considered human, always looked at as like a demon or an abomination. That I mean, it was just trauma all around.
I'm sure.
But finding dance and, like, finding moments where I could escape. That's probably why I love movies so much, because they were like my form of escape.
Yeah.
So yeah, finding that and finding art and allowing that to kind of be my tether to who I am and who I want to be. I think that shaped most of me.
Yeah. Man, I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
Growing up, would you say that because I think for me it was.
And where are you from?
I'm from Houston.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was a little easier to hide my sexuality, and really, to be honest with you, I was in denial of even being gay because I had never met a gay person like myself. But for you being queer, do you feel like, you know, it was just because I would say that you were more feminine?
Oh yeah, I think from childhood, like, it's not something that you know, everyone has their own idea or theory of, like, where queerness is. Like, is it at birth? Is it, you know, nature? Is it nurture? I feel like it's a mix of both. We develop how we developed naturally and because of influences. But me and my brother, raised completely the same, and he's like the exact opposite of me. And that was hard for me because he was sort of like the model of what everyone wanted me to be and look like, and I was just very naturally effeminate. And I learned later, and when I say later, I want to say like maybe a couple months ago, because I had to take my ass to therapy.
Yeah.
But like you said, it got too expensive, so I rolled out. But shout out to her. She was a great therapist.
That's what's up.
But she helped me realize it wasn't just my sexuality. It was my gender identity that I was like, and added another layer.
And that's what I was going to ask you, because I know, because I'm sure we probably around the same age. I'm 35.
29. Close.
You a youngin'. You a youngin'.
I turned 30 this year. I'm right there with you. I'm right there.
You are. But, there wasn't really a thing of, like, gender. So I'm sure you probably identified as, gay before, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And
I was under the impression that I was a gay man.
Yeah.
And even saying that felt wrong, but it's what people would say to me. So I was just like, okay, I'll go with it.
I appreciate you sharing that, because I have my own challenges with the word gay. Now, by action, and for other people's definition, I would feel like I identify as gay. But the word doesn't speak to me. It never has spoken to me as that is me.
Yeah.
Black has.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
undeniable.
Even being a male or a man has spoke to me in my life, but the word gay never has, and I don't quite know how to put a definition on it. But I'm curious to know, like, what was that like for you? I guess, like, realizing that you were not gay but non-binary.
So, to respond to your first part about yourself, the great thing is you don't have to define it,
right?
Which is the beauty of it. Like, of course, that makes it easier for people to, I guess, try to define you themselves. But they're going to do that anyway.
Exactly.
So, fuck them. And I feel like it's a lifelong journey for some. And you may never find what that label is, but you don't have to,
Yeah.
You are you, and that's more than enough. And for me, I think realizing my gender was also not what I was told. What was your question again?
I guess, like, at what point did you realize, like, that you weren't?
Oh yeah. So I think that's something that was like a slow burn, like. Maybe when I was in elementary school and I would like always emulate femme figures that I would see on TV and books, games, and I felt that was normal. Like, if you ask my elementary school friends, child, they would tell you I was the Pink Ranger all the time. At recess, we would play Power Ranger, and I was like, no, I am the Pink Ranger. I am Kimberly. Like, y'all don't understand. Powerpuff Girls, and got on the shirt today. Like, this is like, that's who I felt a strong connection to.
Yeah.
Just femme energy, and like I would like try on my mom's clothes and her like lipsticks and stuff when she wasn't home, and then I learned to hide it, and then learn to like suppress it because for survivability and just. Try not to get jumped or abused verbally, physically, whatever. I just had to try to suppress it. And that's really, really hard to do when it's just naturally you. Yeah. And I think it caused a little bit of uncertainty of just who I am. I'm saying a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
And then just growing up and meeting like-minded people and meeting people who have already casted aside those claws that have been just like dug into them. They kind of just helped me realize there's more to human experience than gay, straight. There's more than man, woman. And after learning these terms and what they mean, I figured out for myself, what I feel like most.
Yeah.
And then talking to my therapist, it was just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, I'm a non-binary person. I use they them pronouns, and it just feels right.
Yeah.
It feels like me, and
That's
what it is.
That's what's up. And I think that's something I appreciate about the ballroom, just kind of going back to what you were saying about, like, you know, gay, straight, male, female, like none of that matters. Like, you could be the most masculine person and express your femininity or whatever it is. Exactly. You know what I mean? And it's a beautiful thing just to see people be people. Did you have to formally come out? Like, did you have like to come out, or what was your experience like coming out?
It was honestly, it's kind of embarrassing because I'm gonna just say it. I sent my mom.
No judgment.
I sent my mom an email. Child, I sent her an email like, "Hey, I think I'm gay." I was in high school, and like we had this computer in the living room, and I was like I fell asleep in the living room. And I had woke up, and she was on the computer just, like, checking her email. And I'm, like, trying to fake sleep. Like, Lord, I hope she don't read it while I'm right here, child. And, you know, her initial reaction was one of someone who's also been subject to all types of, you know, just ignorance. And she responded out of ignorance. And one thing that I love about my mom is she's one who's willing to learn and unlearn, which is super important. She responded and just sort of said to me she feels like she failed me, and she wants to know like where she went wrong. And I remember my first reaction being like, I'm not a serial killer. I said I'm queer. This is normal. And we talked about it, and her becoming more accepting and understanding is what allowed me to come out to the rest of the world. And then I had to have sort of a second coming out, which I still really haven't done formally, and I don't think it's necessary for me to. But coming out as non-binary, I guess I haven't made like some extravagant post or done a video or something to share with the world. It's just like, I am who I am. We meet in person, I'll tell you. Right. I do include it in my work a lot, but I haven't like come out as non-binary.
That's what's up. And I feel you on that too. Like, at this stage in my life, I'm just fucking me.
That's literally what it is.
If you ask me, I'll tell you, exactly. but I'm not gonna hide at all.
As you shouldn't. You know, we've done a lot of that, and it's just detrimental. It's bad for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, of course, I will say I do support folks coming out on their own terms, hiding what they need to survive in environments where they are not safe.
Yeah.
So do what you do to be safe.
And I think it's something that we all learn in our own time, and that's why I think it's dope to hear that your mom did the work to, you know, unlearn and learn, because, you know, I know for me, I had to come to an acceptance of this. So it was like, initially I wanted everybody to just immediately just be on board with it. And it's like, well, they got to do their own learning too. Right. And, you know, my dad had a really hard time with it, and he's grown to the point where my dad has came with me to prep appointments.
Absolutely.
All kind of shit. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah. So
I wish... Take some of that energy and give it to the men in my family, child. Because it's not the same.
You know what? It comes down to... Because I will say I did have to take a break from my dad at one point, because it was like, you're not understanding this. I'm trying to figure this out. I need a break. Yeah. And I think when people experience your absence,
boom, that's the one.
It makes them start to figure out, is this really fucking worth it? Is it worth my opinion, my thoughts that may not have no value in the world in general. Is it worth that to lose this person?
Right.
So, I think people come around in their own time.
Mm-hmm.
I think, the most that we could do is just continue to just show up in the world and be ourselves and just,
That's it. And, it would be virtuous and kind to have patience for these people who treated you like shit. But like you said, if all you can do is show up, that's good enough. You do not have to put up with
at all
with these folks
at all.
Great if you do, talk to them and try to get them. But if it's too much for your energy, for your mind, literally limit their access to you. That's what I did with a lot of the people in my family.
Yeah.
I probably done cut everybody off by now, child. My blood brother, we share both parents. The father of my nephew, who is like my nephew. If you know me, you know my nephew.
Yeah.
But his dad, unfortunately, has no access to me. Social media, real life, there's nothing there. And it's because he's not one of those who is open and willing to learn about other people. And I find that people who feel their experience is the only human experience in the world, to just be the ones who die off like dinosaurs, and nothing that you leave is positive. It's just, yeah. So I don't want that type of energy around me. My father was similar, but he's starting to like come around more. But it's still hard to like ignore everything that has been said and done to you as a child.
Yeah.
So I'm still coming to terms with that, and I would love to have a relationship with my dad the way that you described one with yours. But it's gonna take
it's work.
It's gonna take some work.
Definitely take some work.
Yeah, it's gonna take some work.
What does it mean to you to be both black and queer?
I used to think it meant that I was like some sort of scourge on this earth. Never really about my blackness, but the combination of being black and queer, it was almost like, you don't deserve to be here. You should be more like them. But now I look at it as almost like a superpower. Like,
man,
I have a very unique perspective on the world.
Yeah.
Based off of my lived experience. And I think I have a lot of insight because of that. And I also think I'm a lot more empathetic because of that. So I look at it as a superpower.
I feel the same way. Like, there are things that we were able to learn by, I feel like as a queer person, and I'm sure you can relate, but we definitely have to grow up a little faster than other people, because like you said, survival.
Exactly.
You have to protect yourself, mentally just, it's a lot. But I think it has built so much resilience and so much drive within me, and empathy, and the ability to express myself, in ways that most men probably can't. So, I embrace it to the fullest.
Period. As you should. As you should.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Younger me, I would say don't stifle yourself, don't suppress yourself for anybody. And I really wish I heard those words when I was younger. Had someone directly tell me that it's okay. For some reason I feel like I needed allowance and permission to like the things that I like, to be the person that I am. And I want my younger self to know that you don't need permission.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I would also want them to know that, like, I am giving you permission. Give yourself that permission to just be. Give yourself permission.
That's what's up.
I think I'm gonna get that framed. Give yourself permission.
What is a reminder that you would give to your future self?
Oh, I don't think I've ever thought of that one. To be honest, for a long time, I don't think I even saw a future self. I always thought I like lived on borrowed time, like. So that's a hard one to think about. I think a great reminder would be to just think of who you're doing this for, and think of what keeps you motivated and bound to your purpose. So yeah, a reminder would be just think of your purpose and all that you can accomplish from being who you are and doing what you're doing.
That's what's up. All right. So now we are going to move into our segment called Ask Me a Question, where the listeners ask us questions. And I had some listeners send in some questions for you. And Lucas, who just recently got in the ballroom, and he's amazing at everything he does. Sex siren.
Period.
Voguing. But he asked, who inspired your aesthetic?
I think my biggest inspiration wouldn't really be a who, it's more of what. I'm so inspired by water. I'm a water sign. I'm a Scorpio. And that really has nothing to do with my reasoning, but I just think that's a cool component. But water is just so malleable and just so adaptable. I think being able to adapt is the biggest tool that I can have as a dancer and just as a person.
Yeah.
And just being able to fit into different boxes and none at all, and to like be so powerful yet peaceful, I think is just crazy. Just the concept of that.
Yeah.
Is, even on the Spotify experience, I think one of my quotes was from Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And he always would say, be water, my friend. And I think you can literally apply that to any area of your life. Yeah. So yeah, water. I'm a water bender at heart.
That's what's up. He also had two more questions. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to someone who is just getting into dance?
Train. Train. And I think experience different forms of movement to figure out what your body likes to do the best. And one thing that I think that I would have loved to have done more of is just stretching. I think that's such a basic answer, but stretching is like, it's so beneficial for your body outside of dance too, but like your body will thank you for it. My body is currently cussing me out right now because I did not do it enough. And I'm starting to get back into it, and it's so painful.
Yeah. Do you do yoga?
I don't, and that's the thing. I used to, on and off, and was never consistent with it. It's building that repetition and building that like the routine of it that I'm trying to get back into.
Yeah, that's what's up. What advice would you give? This was another question. What is some advice that you would give somebody just getting into ballroom, being that you just did your first ball?
Since this was my first, I don't have any like professional advice to give. I would just say go for it, which is like literally the essence of ballroom.
That's
to
what
me.
I was gonna say too, and just have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it and have fun, and just know that who you are is enough. And I think when you understand that, your confidence and everything about you just oozes out. And those to me are the like powerhouses in ballroom. From being a spectator, the ones that I love are the ones who just ooze self-confidence and self-awareness. So yeah, go for it, be confident, and eat the girls up.
I hear that. Thom, where can the people find you?
Y'all can find me on all my socials. Thomography, because Thomography was taken, but we love Thomography. THOMEOGRAPHY.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Thom, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
I appreciate that. I'm glad we got to do it outside because it felt really good out here. Happy Pride, y'all.
Happy Pride.
Thank y'all so much for listening. This is Mike Brown, and this is The Art of Letting Go. Peace.
Deuces.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of The Art of Letting Go. If you like what you heard, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to the podcast. Also, rate it, leave a review, let people know what you think. Let me know what you think. I love to hear, your thoughts on the show. Also, if you would like to further support the show, you can share the show with your loved ones. Also, we have a Patreon where you can subscribe and get exclusive content from the show, exclusive episodes that have never released. We have merch. Also, I would love if you guys send me in your questions. I love to hear from y'all. I really do. This is our show. All of us. It's The Art of Letting Go. Thank you.